MMA Oddsbreaker, I'm Frank Trigg. That's Will Brooks. Saad Awad is his next opponent coming up here on October 25th at Bellator. Will, it's been a minute. What's been going on with you?
Nothing much, man. Just got back into the gym, getting ready for this next fight, and just trying to stay focused on this tournament and making sure that I get through it all the way this time.
Do you really like the tournament format, or is it just a necessary evil to get to the title at Bellator?
I think for me, it's a both. It's kind of divided between the two. It's a little difficult, trying to figure out how do you train, when do you train, how hard you train, because you're used to putting in a 6 week, 8 week training camp, and with the tournament, the way it's set up, the fights come so quickly. You have very little time to recover from the last training camp and the last fight. So for me, that's a little bit of a bummer for me. But overall, I think it is what it is. In order to get to the belt, this is how you do it. As far as being signed with Bellator, and this is where they set it up. So I shut my mouth and put my head down and do what I have to do.
Now you're coming back to the tournament, and is the money justify the intensity and the shortness between training camps? Like there's a finite level. You're not a new guy. You've already had 12 fights. It's not like you're trying to build your career, trying to get a name. You've got a name now from people seeing you fight in Bellator, and now you're starting to get through this tournament. How does the money that you're getting every round outweigh the, oh my gosh, I've only got 4 weeks of training camp. I was only able to take 2 days off. I've got a 6 week training camp. I was only able to take 3 days off during my whole training camp since my last fight because it's so close together.
Actually, you know what? The last tournament, I think the money did play a role in the way I approached the tournament. Um, this time around, I've really tried not to focus on how much money or what we're making as far as this whole tournament goes, and just focus on getting through it. Focus on getting to these fights and getting to that belt. I think that was one thing that really slowed me down in my last tournament was getting too mixed up in things that I couldn't control, things that I can't change, and just right now I'm just really trying to focus on training as much as I can, as smart as I possibly can, to make sure that I go in there and I get paid the money that I'm supposed to get paid. Because if you don't go in there, perform and win, you don't get all the money that you're supposed to make. So for me, I'm just focused on getting back into this cage and keeping my momentum going and staying really focused on one fight at a time and getting to whoever holds the belt, which is either Michael Chandler or Eddie Alvarez or whoever has it at that point. But yeah, right now, money, tournament format, any of that stuff, I'm trying not to really focus on too much and just stay within the tunnel vision.
Let's talk about Saad Awad. You fought him back in February of 2013, earlier this year. You lost to him by punches in the first round. You're getting ready to fight him again. That first fight didn't go long enough for either of you to really figure out what the other guy really is going to do. So it's not like there's a big, long process for this next training camp. What do you think he's going to do differently when you come in and fight this next week?
Personally, I think one thing that I have an idea that he's going to do. I think he's going to try to push the pace and stay in my zone and try to keep me from being athletic and keeping me from moving my feet and circling and being able to be evasive and enforce a lot of my offense. And I think that's one thing that he's really going to push for this time around. You know, I guess I also believe he's going to go back to what he does best, and that's just throwing big punches and looping punches. And I feel really good about the performance that I put on against John Alessio. I feel like they're very similar in their techniques, and if I'm able to go in there and just fight my fight and be Will Brooks and be an athlete and be athletic and be evasive and still be very threatening as far as my striking go and wear him out, I believe that I'm going to come out with this W this time around.
I'm very close friends with John Alessio. I didn't train with him, but I watched his training camp for your fight. That was the best John Alessio you could have gotten that night, and you beat him soundly. I was impressed with your fighting style before you fought John. Watching that fight progress and how you maneuvered, how you pushed the pace, how you kept pace, how you forced the fight to go where you wanted to go, made me even a bigger fan of yours because I knew how good John was prepared for that fight. Do you still have that momentum? That same kind of training camp, is it still flowing into this next training camp, getting ready for this fight with Saad, so it's going to be a different outcome?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest things that has really helped me as far as my training camps go is making a move to American Top Team, making a move to a very, very professional run training camp with the coaches that I work with. They make sure that I'm not being stubborn, I'm not overtraining myself, which is something that I've typically had problems with. Is being smart about the way I run my training camps. But with the coaches that I have at American Top Team, I'm rolling right now. They've figured out what I'm good at and what things that I need to shut down and let them take control of, and they figured out when they should shut down and let me take control. So I think right now we've got a really good rhythm with the way my training camps roll and what strategies we're putting together as far as going into these fights. So right now, man, I'm really just waiting for somebody to ring the bell. You know, for me, I've been really went from the John Alessio fight. I took a couple of days off and I got back into the gym. I wasn't going too crazy, but we did a lot of strategy stuff, watching tape and, hitting mitts and just making sure that my body stays active and make sure the joints and everything stays, loose. So, yeah, man, I'm just going right into this fight and just keeping it rolling. And, I have to give all the credit to my coaches for being able to settle me down and really get me to focus on taking care of my body and being ready for this next fight.
Will, thanks for coming on here. I know it's a Sunday, so I'm going to let you go and watch a little bit more football. Good luck against Saad Awad. I can't wait to see this fight because I do think that what we saw the first time when you guys fought is not the guy you are now, especially after that John Alessio fight. So good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.